Hi viewers, and welcome to one outstanding show tonight. I am so excited. But first of all, I want to start by saying thank you to all of our viewers that are sending us those messages of appreciation and support through our social media. In reality, CN Sun Productions and Rocky Hill Community TV are partnering up to bring you the shows that are best for you, entertaining, educating, and that you enjoy at home. So thank you very much. Well, today we have a great show, and I won't say much because the videos are going to speak for themselves. And the guest that we have tonight is a worldwide recognized bass player. He's a man of all trades. He's a great musician. So let's see what we have.
Funky jazz, fusion, improvised grooves from the one and only jazz bass player and music composer Steve Clarke. As a Bridgeport, Connecticut native exposed to music from an early age, Steve has managed to create his very own playing style through his 25 years of music career. His distinctive funk sound with influences from blues, R&B, soul rhythms make him a versatile performer. He's toured extensively throughout Europe and the U.S. His CD collection includes Kickin' It, Can You Hear Me Now, Sparkle, among other outstanding recordings. Steve Clarke's smooth, funky jazz fusion power trio has had tremendous impact on the jazz community, and it is essential to the music industry. Keep on kicking it and delight us with the shine of your bass playing.
Steve, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you.
It is an honor having you here.
Thank you for having me. It's a
Finally, I was
pleasure.
able to meet you personally.
Yes.
I know so much about you, seen your videos, have followed your music career.
Okay.
So, yes,
Well, thank you for doing
I'm very
that, yeah.
impressed.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's exciting to be here. I'm glad, to step in to this wonderful place and
Thank you.
see the great things that you're doing for the artists in the country and
Thank you.
around the world.
Thank you. Well, let's start with your story. You know, everyone wants to know, when we have a great musician in front of us, we want to know where everything started. How was your childhood? I know your family was filled with music, and there was, tell me about it.
Well, you had, coming up, the house was full of all kinds of music, I should say, as well. And at that point, I wasn't even thinking about being a musician, but because my brother, let's start with my dad.
Okay.
He plays trumpet, and I can remember him playing, but my brother played saxophone. He was a jazz saxophonist. And then I have 4 other brothers that played in drum corps, and they all play horns, so it was a lot of horns going on all the time. And then I have sisters that always played what was on the radio, and at that time it was mostly like Motown songs and stuff like that. So there was always music going on in the house.
So it came naturally.
Oh yeah, I guess it could come naturally because you're always like to something, and you get to love everything about music, which is why I probably play so many different styles and interested in all types of artists and musicians and stuff on what they do.
And what made you choose the bass guitar as your instrument?
Well, coming up, actually, originally, I wanted to play the drums. And my very first instrument I took lessons on was an accordion. And it didn't last long, but I remember in learning songs, and I mean, it was fun as well. But then, I guess I was about 16 or 17, and I had a friend that was Timmy Mallory, and he lived across the street from school that I went to, and when I was in Bridgeport, Connecticut, yes, on the east side, East End, and it was Lincoln School, and he lived right across the street. And every day at recess, he was always on his porch, and he was playing his guitar and stuff like that, and playing music. And I'm like wondering, no, this is nice. And finally, it dawned on me, why is this kid not in school? Because he was like my age as well, a little bit younger, but. Then one day I met him after school. He was out there. And I got to know him, and I started going to his house, and I was like learning how to play instruments, and I was telling him I was interested in playing the drums and things like that. And his brother played the drums, so they had a drum set there. So I started like learning how to play the drums. But his old brother would always come in, and he was the drummer, and they had a little band, playing. But one day the person left their bass there, good friend Keith Patton, and I started playing, messing around with his bass, and then I asked him to show me how to play bass. I was like, this is pretty nice playing along like that. But essentially, you know, when I'm thinking I want to play the drums, all the time I'm playing the drums like doom, 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 doom. I'm always humming the bass anyway. So I guess it was just, you know, came naturally that when I finally got to the doom, 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 I was like, oh, okay.
Do you still play the drums?
I do not. I haven't played in years.
Okay.
You know. But I still have a drum set.
Okay.
You know.
So your friend was your first influence then?
Yes, he was my first teacher and
one
influence.
Of your first teachers and influence for you to get on into the bass player.
Yes, and at that time we just listened to the radio, and everything that was on the radio, we just learned everything that was on the radio. You know.
And what has made you like jazz above all the genres that you play?
I guess I was influenced by Stanley Clarke. You know, people would think that, you know, I would be, and I always get mistaken for him. They say, hey, Stanley. I'm like, oh, Steve. I was like, oh, yeah, it's Steve. But it was like the first time that I ever heard music instrumentally where the bass was playing a solo, because the radio would never play a bass playing a solo. You'd only hear the singer, and you wouldn't even know who the bass player was. He'd just be a guy in the back. Or you wouldn't know any of the musicians unless you know, bought the album and had to and read about it. But then I was influenced by that. I was like, wow, the bass could do that. And I started like learning things like that. And then I guess I just kept pushing further and further away. And I registered in school to learn how to read music at Housatonic Community College in Bridgeport. And when you go to learn music, you either learn classical or you learn jazz. There's not really like a rock school. I mean, they have it like now that they have a rock school, but you're still learning the fundamentals of jazz in classical music.
Nice. Yet you have other influences in your music. You have soul, you have R&B. So tell us about it.
Yeah, well, it just comes from, you know, growing up with that. So when I was 17, 18, this is 1970s. So R&B was at the top of its peak right then. So I grew up on R&B.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there any genre that you haven't experienced that you would like to try out?
I don't think I ever tried playing some metal music. And, and I know a few people that play it. It's very interesting. I think I would like to try it, you know, with some serious metal musicians.
See, what's your angle coming from the jazz and wanting to play?
Yeah,
you know,
metal music.
Metal music.
I would learn something from that, and you know.
And they will learn something from you.
Yeah, I would probably take it to another direction, like a normal person would.
Sure.
Just put their own influence and touches on it.
Sure. Well, the audience wants to see some of your live performances. So you played recently. We're gonna show one of your videos. Okay. You played in Cafe 9. So
oh yes, yeah. And Cafe 9 goes back to me playing there probably 30 years. It's been going on, and they have an open mic there every Saturday, 4 to 7 p.m. And I'm generally there on the third week and on the fourth week, playing with. Third week I play with Tony D, and the fourth week I play with George Baker. Okay,
so who you're playing with in the video?
In the video, I'm playing with my own trio. This was on a different night. It was a Saturday night, and I'm playing with Pat Merfiotti on keyboards and Chris Stanley on drums.
Nice. Well, let's have a look. I know people want to see it. Well, guys, enjoy it. that's soulful.
Music is different for each person.
It comes through, you know, it's so powerful.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yes, and your trio is powerful. So talk to us about your jazz trio. How long have you been together?
We've been playing together probably, I'd have to say probably 12, 15 years. You know, I don't know if we've been playing together, but I met the keyboard player at the Housatonic School where I went to for music. He was there as well for music. And I've known the drummer after that, 25 years at least. Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time.
Yeah.
So we've been together. And we've been to Europe 5 times as a tour, you know, through Germany and Czech Republic and Slovakia.
I wanted to ask you about the tours because I know you've been touring quite a lot. Part of the year you are touring in the fall. And who you've been playing with?
Well, generally I've started doing with this trio, and then I've used some musicians from Germany and Austria, which I've done for the last couple of tours, and it's been amazing. It's just been amazing how music is received over there, being sort of unknown artist in the area to come in and play, and for people to come up.
You.
Yes, yes. And it's like a second home to me, especially in Czech Republic. Probably did, I don't know, 1,000 concerts there. Yes. And it all started with me playing there with a gentleman called Lazzo Decci. He was the first one that took me into the country. And I was touring with his band, and his son plays the drums, and we had a keyboard player, many different keyboard players for each tour. And it's just been an awesome time. And he allowed me to sell my music while I was touring with him, which is
great.
It's great, yeah, but a lot of artists won't let you do that.
Exactly, it's very unconventional.
Yeah.
Yes.
So during that process, people got to know me as well, you know, as him. And
you have any tours coming up?
well, our next one is not for another couple of years.
Okay.
Over there, we've been getting calls to do a couple of shows here and there, but it's not financially, possible to go and do one show or 2 shows.
Yes. Yes. Do you see any differences in audiences and the way they embrace you overseas versus how it is in the States?
Well, yeah, you see it that they're more receptive to music. They're more. I was speaking earlier that they see it more as an art form if you come and play music. Where over here it's more like it's something that people do as a hobby. But over here, it's more accepted here in concert settings. It has to actually be in a concert setting. Where over there, I've played in clubs that were maybe 3 times the size of this place right here. But it's just a club, but you're putting on a concert. They expect you to play as a concert, and the TV's not on in the background, and people don't just happen to be there.
Yes, they go to see you.
You start playing, and it gets quiet.
Yes, yes.
And after every solo, it's like, yeah, and then it's like, and that's very inspiring for an artist.
And you are very inspiring in the sense that, all the videos that I've seen of you and all your live playing, your personality comes through. You have a very deep, soulful personality that comes through your playing, and it shows in ways that are very, very impressive. And I can understand why you have such a big following, because people like that. People like to be connected to their artists.
Yeah,
and
they
not
do,
everyone that has a great talent is able to connect with their audience in the ways that you do.
Oh, well, thank you. Just don't ask me how I do it.
Well, that was my next question, actually. Well, we want to see more about you.
I think it just comes from when you go in, you give 100% plus, and then when you get energy back, you give another 120%.
And you have passion. You have passion for music, and that shows up naturally.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we want to see more. So we have the next video. Can you tell us about this video that we're going to see right now?
I could. Yeah, this is a recent one. This was from the Brass City Jazz Festival, which is here in Waterbury, and it's their second year, and it's going very well, very well, and I expect this festival to grow every year. They had like 7 or 8 known artists from across the country that came in this year. That's a lot, for a festival to have on one day. A lot of festivals do that, and they do it in 3 days. So this is a brand new festival, and hopefully you'll be there next year.
Of course, I'm going to be there.
Yeah,
You invite me, I'm there.
I'm inviting you. And we have to thank Al Taylor for that. This is a gentleman who is putting the shows on. So this was July 6th this year.
Okay.
And we're playing an Earth, Wind, and Fire song.
Ah, I love
Can't Hide
Earth,
Love.
Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. Absolutely amazing. You were having fun.
Oh, yeah. When the fun's over, it's all over.
Or the next one starts.
Or the next one starts, yeah.
Well, your bass playing speaks for itself. As you said, it has a voice of its own, and it's amazing.
Oh, thank
it's
you.
It's amazing. And I see you enjoy it so much.
I do, yeah. And when you play with different musicians, they bring out different things in you.
Different vibes,
that was
different
like a different
dynamics
band there.
that are created.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they say with great talent comes great responsibility. So it's about, showcasing your talent, but also uniting communities, because that's what we end up doing. Connecting communities,
getting people
cultures. Music expands all over, and people just forget about where they came from. They just enjoy it as one great unit.
Yeah,
so
they do.
That's awesome.
And a lot of times I find out that people is like, they're not used to playing or listening to jazz, that they would say. say, I don't really like that. But when they go to a concert,
It's a whole new experience.
it's a whole new experience, and
Yes.
they feel the music. And then they
Yes.
start liking jazz, and they say, "Oh man, I love this," because it's not the same on a record as it is live. Because a lot of times it's made on a record, like in a room like this, and
Yes.
and we're trying to create the
Sure.
inspiration and the fire from the
Yeah.
people. But when it's live, you get the fire from the people
And
right away.
there's so much to say about that, and I'm not sure we have a lot of time, but that was another question that I have for you. You know, your influence on the music industry, what you're doing is spectacular because you're using social media in ways that are helping spread out the word as to the fascination of jazz and where jazz, you know, can get to. And
Yes,
so
yes.
you're using social media really well. So is it, you're doing it on purpose or is just something natural?
We're trying to do it. You're trying to spread the word, and it's just not for yourself. It's just for the music itself, for the art itself. You know, to let people
Sure.
know that it's here, and you don't have to come to see me. You can just go see that person, and you'll get to love the music, and you understand it a lot better. Because when it's live, you respond to it. You know.
Yes. So what if people want to know more about you? You have a web address. Where can we find more
I don't really have a
your-
web address,
Okay.
but you can find me on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever, wherever you go.
Okay, so pay
Just-
attention.
just
We
Google.
can find Steve Clarke on YouTube, Instagram, all the social media platforms that there are. You can find great videos of Steve Clarke if you want to see more about him. And what's next on your journey?
This weekend I'm playing up at the New Milford Green.
You are?
Yeah, and I'm playing with the J. Willie Blues Band.
Okay, that's
They
Saturday?
call it. This is Saturday coming
Okay.
up, which is going to be awesome as
Okay.
well. And a lot of people didn't realize that sometimes I play the blues.
I can't wait to see that.
All right.
Maybe you get a surprise.
All right, we'll look forward to that.
Sure. Well, I wanted to ask you a big, big favor, and it is if we can play a song together. One of my favorites is Ella Fitzgerald, Cry Me a River.
Okay, kind of familiar with the song,
Okay.
but we'll try to make something happen with
Okay,
it.
let's just, free.
And that's the way it should kind of be, you know?
Okay,
You
yes.
know? Because we don't know what's going to happen. Till later, we will know.
Okay.
Oh.
So I let you start.
Let me
I'll
start.
follow you.
That's what you think.
Now you say you're lonely. You cry the whole night through. Well, you can cry me a river. Cry me a river. I cried a river over you. Now you say you're sorry for being so untrue. Well, you can cry me a river. Cry me a river. I cried a river over you. You drove me, nearly drove me out of my head. While you never shed a tear. Remember, I remember It's been a pleasure having Steve Clarke tonight on this show. We want to thank him so much for being here. He's a tremendous artist.
Thank you for having me.
And it's not going to be the last that you're going to see of him. We'll bring him back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.